I think there's an awful lot of work because we see it. We're lucky, we're engaged in that space. We deal with some very large to medium-sized organizations, and there is a lot of effort going on in the background. They are ready. So readiness is key. Whether they deploy or not is slightly different, okay? Because deployment is a different thing from being ready, but the work is happening in the background. They know how to deploy when the time is right. And that'll just be about allocation of capital. Are we ready to go? What are the reasons to go? But the work is being done and we see it every day and we contribute to that. And that's, so I'm taking hope from that, what I see with the customers. It's just about timing. So timing is coming and the things get released, but I think we'll see a flood of this stuff especially as regulations and things tighten. So yeah, it's good.
I think, Ed, to add to that, I would say that all of the global leaders and sort of in the FMCG space, it rapidly rolls up to sort of 6 or 12 brands that dominate the market. I would say that they're all moving or have moved on it behind the scenes, as you said. So they're ready. And I think that, you know, for challenger brands or independents, you need to understand how you deliver on sustainability or what the opportunities are. And it's not really sustainability. It's just, you know, the next lens of business that we need to operate through. I think also we're probably seeing an evolution of sustainability in the market at the moment, where it was these side projects. It typically had a higher cost associated with them. And, you know, with the work that we do, we're getting pushed as well. Like, how can you drive that ROI? What is the business case? And so it is getting tighter. But if you're lagging behind that opportunity and that next wave of insight, then it will be much harder for you to compete, and to meet, you know, consumer or investor or retailer sentiment becomes harder for you because you need to bridge a gap if you haven't sort of engaged at the right time and started on that journey yourselves.
My position on that is there's loads of really nice evidence around businesses that have a point of view or a strategy in market around what they stand for. So I would say for me, the current situation is don't look at that through a recycling lens or a value lens. It's about market position lens. What do you stand for as a business? It's an intent, isn't it? Recycled content is an intent. This is how we perceive the world. And that should add value. It should aid the experience. So designing packaging that includes recycled content that is evident or it's apparent, you know, so make it part of the experience, because yes, it's hard to justify at the moment otherwise, especially in Australia. It's much more justifiable in other countries. I'm not saying we shouldn't be doing it, because we absolutely should. I'm a massive advocate of circularity, let's just be clear, but I'm also incredibly pragmatic. So if we're going to use it, let's use it for commercial advantage and experience for the customer would be my positioning at the moment. And we can do that. There's so much stuff we can do around that, make it part of the fun of buying a thing. Regulation would help, Rose, if we had really clear regulation around the value of having recycled content inside of our packaging materials, that would help. An effective framework around pricing, for example, the pricing being enough to facilitate recycled content being a good actor process. So that's a bit complicated, but if the fee of placing the product on market is high enough if you don't use recycled content, but then the benefit of including recycled content is high enough to offset the fee. So we create this circular momentum. We don't actually have either of those things in place at the moment, but that's coming, right? We know it's coming. We know that framework is in front of us. So to actually build the business case at the moment is really hard. But what I would say to you is, it takes time to implement those material streams, to make them efficient and make them useful. So start the process, because what you do need to change inside of your business is how you work, because using those type materials is harder than using conventional virgin materials. So the business case is hard, but it is coming and it takes time. So balancing.
But if you're embedding that at the very beginning, so every new product that comes through, and when there's a review of formulation as well, which happens on a periodic cycle, make sure every time something comes through R&D, you have an ESG lens across that at the ingredient level. Again, you don't have to act on it straight away, but at least you can see, you can understand, okay, this product coming to market has this potential impact. So this is what it means for us. So it's not about adding more work on. And something that we spend a lot of time doing and specialize in is interoperability of data. So when this data will become as prolific and is as important as financial data, there's probably not many decisions that you make in a business without a financial lens across it. And just imagine an extra column there, an additional attribute that is your carbon, biodiversity, or water footprint that you will start reporting and making decisions based on. And you can't always optimize for everything. There's a trade-off. So being aware of what those trade-offs are really important. But I think embedding data into existing business cycles is really important and where it needs to go.
I would say the way I would help you is we prioritize what you should change. You can't change everything. So let's look at the portfolio, understand the portfolio as a data set. That enables us to prioritize quite quickly what's important. And then we focus on the things where we create the biggest impact and or return on investment. So that's how I would approach cost of change, because you're right, it's very hard to do it for everything. You shouldn't try and do it for everything.
And understanding costs and the percentage of recycled material as well, and building that business case. The first step is understanding the data and what it looks like. And you'll often see with these things as well, like if regulations coming, if the understanding the cost of reformulation now, or running a few specific tests where you need to or can run them as well, to understand what that business case might look like at scale is much more cost effective doing that now, as opposed to waiting in 5 years' time when you've got regulation breathing down your throat. You can extrapolate that out and say it might cost me $5 per ingredient to optimize now versus, I don't know, $5,000 per ingredient to optimize when I have to do it under speed with less opportunity. And I've already contracted all of my suppliers on a 5-year term horizon that I can't actually get out of. So yeah, devil's in the detail again.